Hey, free mind, you crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel. Make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to Comics Today. This is a show that we do on Wednesday, the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And today we are going to have a couple of guests on that are going to help me to make sense of something that is happening in the world of comics and collectibles. And as a reminder, this show is rebroadcast as a podcast on your preferred podcasting platform. All you have to do is to search for Regie Collects and you will find Reggie and you can take me on the go. So hopefully you guys will check me out. The podcast gets released on Monday at 10 a.m. Shout out to my brother Rizal for making that magic happen for like probably a year now. He stepped in and he has been consistently delivering, and I am very thankful for having a brother that gets stuff done, especially when I need to get stuff done. As part of this show, we celebrate New Comic Book Day, right? And so at a certain point, I'm going to go here to the chat and I want to find out what it is that you guys may have picked up at your LCS. And if you read something that was really awesome that we should put on the top of our stack, I want you to shout that out. And if you want to acknowledge your LCS, feel free to have at it. I did not go to an LCS today, but I do have some books from my friends over at Image Skybound that we will take a look at here momentarily. And just as a little bit of a preview, we're going to dig into several things today. We have a couple of guests that are going to join me. We are going to talk about, in a slightly different way, the passing of George Perez and Neil Adams and potentially the impact that is happening on comic book collectors out there. We're going to talk about those that may choose to profit from the passing of these creators. Is it part of the hobby or is it something else? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We are going to have another mystery guest on, somebody that has been mentioned on social media, been mentioned in videos previously. You guys have heard his name several times, but you have never seen the man. We are going to talk with him today. That was super cryptic, I know. Stay tuned. We are going to talk to this guy and it's going to be relevant. We're going to talk about the past, the present, and possibly even the future as well. We're also going to talk about some things that CGC is doing. And I reached out to them. I've reached out to them about some of the stuff that they're doing. So I'll give you guys a little bit of insight into what that conversation sounded like. So with that, let me go briefly and first to the chat to see what it is that you guys may have picked up this New Comic Book Day. And even if you didn't pick up something new, if it's new to you, I still want to know about it. And if you are in the chat right now and this is your very first live stream, let it be known so that the Blue Wrenches can welcome you properly. And I can also throw your name up on screen and welcome you to welcome you to your first live stream. The wonderful thing about live streams is that I never know what people are going to say, and oftentimes these hilarious comments pop up that I just really enjoy. So my man Chuck, who is my neighbor here, if you will, in North Carolina, asks if Kang the Conqueror is the guest because I spoke about the past, the present, and the future. Well done, Chuck. That was unexpected, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, sir. Thank you very much. Shout out to the Blue Wrenches that are up in here. I see Matt Woods is up in here. Matt and I collaborated recently. We are cooking up something. I cannot wait to record this video. Shout out to Matt Woods. I definitely appreciate your assistance with this project, brother. I put a post up on the Instagram. I said I need some help. And Matt Woods was on it. He was on it, as were several other people. Several other people also responded and were like, hey, I want to help out. I appreciate all those people that rally to the cry when assistance is needed. So more to come on this secret project that Matt and I worked on. Rush Diehard, my Canadian brother, he says 20 books and one of each for a free comic book day. That is what's up, Rush. It is good to see you, brother. As always, to see your name in the chat. My man Randy Resnake is up in here. Ken is up in here. Oh, my man Rob. Neo, Cards and Comics. Good evening, all. I picked up X-Men 141, CGC 9.8 last week. Well done, brother. That is a solid book. Congrats to you, my friend. Steve, he said he picked up 18 books, The New Grimm. I saw that book, and I don't know a thing about it, but from the name of it, sounds like something that I might enjoy. Shout out to is Mark here? I read Black Electric. I think he mentioned that to me in a recent DM, and I actually read that book. It's trippy. I read issue 1 of this run. Issue 1 was kind of trippy. Issue 2 took a left, and I don't know if I enjoy it anymore. But issue 1 was a fun read. So getting back to Steve, he picked up Bunny Mask 1, Death Dealer. That is a classic Frank Frazetta cover right there. I picked up Crossover issue number 13, Nottingham, Swamp Dogs, and a couple of other things. Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Bulldog picked up Wolverine Volume 1, number 1. Is that where he's Patch again? Is that where he's Patch? If that's the one, that book wasn't all that bad. If that's the book that I'm thinking of, I read that. It is not all that bad. I'll be completely honest with you. If you guys haven't read that, it's not a bad read. I enjoy and encourage you to check it out. Kevin said, I picked up my graded comics. They came back quicker than expected. Well, aren't you tooting your own horn, Kevin? Aren't you just tooting your own horn? No, congrats, brother. I don't know are you on the Discord? If you're on the Discord, make sure you post up your books. I want to say I saw something from you, possibly on Instagram, but it could have been on the comment section of YouTube. All of the comments blend after a while. But we have a space on the Discord server. If you guys are not a part of it, link in the description of the video, where on the Discord server, which is free, you can actually post up stuff you picked up recently. You can share with folks and put up photos and all that kind of stuff. So Gerald says, it's my first live stream in a long time. Yes, that counts, Gerald. And I recognize the name. I'm like, this is not your first one. Well done, sir. It's good to see you again. Frog Brawler is up in here. 8 billion. Is that what that says? Yeah. Oh, no, 8 billion. My bad. He says that's very good. All right. Bunny Mask, Grimm are among the top picks. Also picked up Thor versus Hulk, and that went as expected. So Hulk put down the mollywop. Is that what you're saying? He put down the mollywop. That's what I'm hearing there. Let me scroll through these comments. Welcome back, Gerald, is the proper response. There you go. Oh no, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Scrolling through. L. Smith, big haul this week. 32 comics, including Nocterra issue number 10, Nottingham, and Captain America's Symbol of Truth, issue number 1. That's what's up. Scrolling through the comments here. What is that? Some of those Grimm variants are pretty awesome, says Frog Brawler. The OG is up in here. Tina, you were missed, my friend. We don't expect you to show up for every live stream. We don't expect that. But when you're not here, people miss you. And I think Wayne did a solid job. He did a solid job of filling in for you. I saw one major thing he put up. He was like, no spoilers for the Doctor Strange movie. It was well done. It was well timed. I saw it clear as day, and I was like, that is what a Blue Wrench is for, to keep me and the room honest on stuff. You do that often, my friend Tina. It is good to see you. Welcome back. Shang-Chi, issue number 12, Hulk versus Thor. Did it go as you expected, sir? Did it go as you expected it to be? Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, issue number 1, Grimm 1, Stargirl, and says Grimm is off to a good start. Looking forward to this one. That's what's up. There you go. Scrolling through, my man Vox Owen. How you doing, brother? He picked up Silver Coin, She-Hulk, Echo Land's back issue. That She-Hulk run is not bad. That She-Hulk run, I am enjoying it. I honestly am enjoying that. Philtastic, how you doing, brother? He says no LCS. Probably because you have a new infant. That's probably why. But got Sandman issue number 5, 9.6 CGC from Shortbox. That's what's up. That's what's up, channeling dog. Well done. All right, you guys are hilarious, and I am way behind on the comments. I'm scrolling through. I dropped to the end. Steve says, I'm going to see Doctor Strange tomorrow, so no spoilers. No spoilers here. Ken is co-signing She-Hulk. I've never really been into She-Hulk, I'll be completely honest, but Jack of Hearts showed up. it just happened to coincide with my reading of the Jack of Hearts, 1 through 4 limited series. It worked itself right in there. I spun that over to Silver Surfer. Somebody tipped me off the Silver Surfer, had Jack of Spades in there, or Jack of Hearts. Sorry, Jack of Spades. I don't know where that came from. Jack of Hearts. So I checked that one out. There you go. Scrolling through, saw Doctor Strange after I got my books. Loved it. That's what's up. No, he is. Man, all of the Blue Wrench. If you're a Blue Wrench, there's a reason for it. Like, legitimately, there is a reason for it. I am thankful for all of you guys, no doubt about it. Blue Lantern, where's Blue Lantern? Is Blue Lantern the first time? There you go. There you go. Thank you to one of the Blue Wrenches there. First time on the live feed. Hello, picked up What If issue number 3, Shang-Chi 12, Grimm. Everybody's reading Grimm. That's what's up. Gotham Future State 13, several other books. Good stuff. Welcome to you, Blue Lantern. We are glad to have you here as part of the live stream and as a part of our community, no doubt about it. They keep me honest. They keep me honest on a lot of stuff, and I am very thankful for them. All right, so let's go ahead and make this transition. Oh, let me show these books off. These are some of the books that I picked up from my friends over at Skybox. They send me a bundle of books occasionally, so a lot of Walking Dead books here. This is issue number 38. That's a pretty cool cover. That's a cool cover right there for issue number 38. Here's another cool one. They do some cool stuff, man, over there. They put out some high quality covers, quality books, good card stock, good paper material. Issue number 38 again, right there, of The Walking Dead. And then the very last one they sent me was a Image First of Walking Dead issue number 1. There you go. I want to say I may have some of these laying around somewhere, but they sent a copy of that. So again, shout out to the folks at Image Skybound for hooking me up periodically with a nice stack of books that ultimately find their way back into the community if my father does not take them. My father came to GarageCon, walked away with a stack of Walking Dead books. I don't know like why, but he ended up with some Walking Dead books. So anyway, I want to go ahead and transition into bringing my first guest on. Sorry. The commentary, you guys are hilarious. There's some stuff that just catches my eye, and it is just funny. So shout out to Ligerstyle. I appreciate you, brother, bringing the humor. So I want to go ahead and transition to my first guest, and this first conversation will piggyback on to some things that have been spoken about recently with the passing of several well-known, influential creators. And so I wanted to have somebody on that I believe has a long history with these creators and really appreciates their art and what they mean to the comic book community, because I wanted to kind of represent that a little bit beyond me just talking about the fact that they have passed. And so I wanted to bring it to life a little bit by having a guest on, right? And so I want to welcome to the show my man Wayne, aka Squirrel Madness. It is good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, Reggie.
Now, what's funny is when I saw the little thumbnail of you below, I saw the black shirt and the white writing. I thought you had on the same shirt. So I was getting my joke ready. But that is not the case. You have a different black and white shirt.
It's funny because I was actually wearing that exact shirt, that exact color today, but I was doing some yard work, and so I threw it in the laundry. So I should have, if I'd known.
Oh, no, brother. It's all good. My boss the other day, my VP, he looks at me because I'm on video all the time. And he's like, "Are you wearing a shirt with your name on it?" And I was like, "Yes." Well, if you pay attention, most days I have a shirt with my name on it because if you have it, you might as well put it on, right? So you might as well represent your own brand. So Wayne, it is good to see you. I am thankful that you were able to join me. I want to say the other day on Instagram, I saw a post that you put up. And I can't remember if it was George Perez books or Neil Adams books. Which one was it?
They were Neil Adams books. You can see 4 of them along the top up behind me. And I've transitioned. I was bad with the camera and which direction I'm going. I've transitioned to including some Perez books.
There you go. There you go. Well. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to have you come on, because I know that you love DC, and I believe that you have a tremendous amount of respect for Neil Adams and for George Perez. And so what I wanted to ask you is how are you and how are other big fans of these two creators thinking about and dealing with the passing of two legends in a short period of time? Talk with me about that.
it was Neil especially was surprising. I mean, I knew he'd had some health problems because I sometimes would sit in on his live streams on IG.
Mm.
But I know he hadn't been around for a while, and I knew he wasn't doing well, but I didn't think he was that bad.
Right.
So that totally floored me. Came out of left field. Like, artists, Carmine Infantino was my favorite, and Neil Adams is my second. Like, that's how I, so just to know we lost him, and that I never got an opportunity to meet him because, I was out of the hobby for so long. I never had that opportunity. And that's one of those things that you're going to regret never doing it. And I think same with George. I mean, both of them had really good reputations in the community. Like, people loved talking to them. They loved talking to people.
Yep.
It was endearing. Like, they endeared themselves to the fandom. And so it went beyond just fantastic work that was defining generations of art. Like, they defined, like, their art. You think about their art, like they're among the greatest of all time. And so it goes beyond that. It goes beyond the fact that you could go up to them and talk with them, and they were awesome people from all accounts. I never had the opportunity. But I think across like IG, YouTube, I mean, there's such an outpouring of respect, love, and sadness.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you really just encapsulated there, and I cut you off. My apologies.
I was going to say, I think just so close together, it's a real gut punch to the community as a whole.
Yep. And I think, to your point, like George Perez's announcement, I want to say in December of last year, with the pancreatic cancer, I have 6 to 12 months. Like, you hear it, it's tough to hear. You know that it's coming, but when it happens, it still hurts, right? But you had some warning, right?
Yeah.
Neil was a little different, like Neil was doing live streams. I felt like fairly often. He was sketching on Instagram. I felt like fairly often. He was at the Krusty Bunker, I think it was called, in like Burbank, California, where I used to live. He seemed like he had a lot left in the tank, a lot going on. I didn't see an announcement of him being sick. And so that one kind of came out of left field, but it's two legends like back to back. And that's tough. And both of them are more, in my mind, more DC guys than Marvel guys.
Yeah.
But it even transcends the publisher, right? I mean, they are bigger than the publisher. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I mean, I think they they have, great works in Marvel and Independence as well. But I think of them more as DC guys, because you think of Neil Adams, you think Batman and Green Lantern and Superman and George Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's
legendary.
True. But for me, like, George was about Crisis on Infinite Earths. When I was a young teenager in the 80s, that was something I bought every month, 12 months. I bought that book and I was just captivated. It was one of those stories that always, like, I don't care how many like crossover events anyone has, for me, they'll never top Crisis. And some of his iconic work in it, and the cover work, like Superman holding Supergirl.
Yeah.
And what I have behind me, Final Fate of the Flash, which is one of my all-time favorite books. It just always like, it sticks with me.
Yeah.
And I would love to have met him. But
yeah, to your point, like Neil Adams, and both of them really transcend, right? But Neil Adams, beyond the artwork, actually did a lot, I think, for other creators. He did a lot for creators' rights. He was also not a shy man. Dave Bratton actually sent me a clip earlier today of him talking about Marvel and how Marvel didn't cut him a check when one of his characters appeared. Havoc appeared in a movie, unlike DC, how DC cut a check for like $100,000 or something like that. And he was just like, what's up with Marvel? What's going on? But it was a little tongue in cheek, but it was also serious. And it was also very much in line with maybe some of the stuff that he's done in the past. Feel free to comment on that.
I'd say he's one of the earliest people to really kind of get on board with the idea that artists and creators have rights to the work that they have. It's their intellectual property as much as it belongs to the company they're working for, and that they should have access to their materials for free, really, or it's their original art is theirs to have and do with as they please. Now you've got the image, you've printed a comic, you can print as many comics as you want, but that work is the work of that creator who put their blood, sweat, and tears into the images that are on paper. And he knew the value of that. Even back in the days when original art didn't curry a lot of people liked it, but I saw an ad for some Jack Kirby original art from the late 70s. Like, you can have this Jack Kirby page for $50, $100, $150, right? And it's sold by his son, I think, with the ad. And so the value wasn't there, but he knew down the road people were going to respect and love it and should profit from their own work.
And I'm thankful for him speaking up, because I think that he has helped, again, beyond just the artwork, beyond people like you that he's created, an impression with. He's actually helped a lot of creators be able to like derive a living from their activities. And I think that has to be recognized. A huge shout out to Harvey Abel, who actually sent me a comic strip. He sent me a comic strip of George Perez. I'm not a big comic strip guy, but it was a wonderful comic strip talking about George Perez, and I guess how he was poo-pooed by Neil Adams early in his career. And I guess Neil told him he couldn't draw or something like that. But it was just a fun little thing that ended with George Perez in his colorful shirts and his wonderful personality, to your point about, how he endears himself to fandom. I never had a chance to meet George Perez. I did have an opportunity to talk with Neil Adams for like 20 minutes at WonderCon. And, he was exactly what you expected him to be, right? I wish that I had been able to meet George Perez, because Infinity Gauntlet for me was big back in the 90s when I first read it. But one of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about, Wayne, was to the point that we just made about the missed opportunity to meet creators while they're here. One of the things that I spoke about recently on the channel is potentially we should find a way to acknowledge and honor the creators that we still have that are here right now. And I'm not just talking about like older creators like a Jim Steranko or a Jim Shooter, for example, right? I'm talking about even like your Jim Lees and your Donnie Cates and your Scotty Youngs. What are your thoughts on how we should approach the creators that we still have? How do we honor them now versus later?
Well, I think it's important for us to go out into the community, to conventions, to shows. And this is piggybacking on something that Steve White said, actually, because he went to Toronto Comic Con, and his experience was that nobody was lining up to see any of the creators. Like, nobody was going to see the creators. They just sat there, and maybe once in a while somebody would walk up. But I'm thinking, all these people create all this fantastic art or writing, and nobody's paying them any never mind, because they're not. I don't know if it's because they're not familiar with the work, because there's so many independent works that people may not know the what they're putting out, so they feel uncomfortable speaking to them. People may just be shy, But I think any creator would appreciate someone going up and saying, I think what you do is fantastic. That's all I wanted to say. Not even get you to sign something. Just, I appreciate what you put out. Like, it just keeps this industry going. And, this next generation is going to one day be the Neil Adams, and George Perez. I mean, but taking the time and talking to the creators when you see them, or even if you don't know the creator, stop by their table and just go look through their portfolio if they're an artist, and just see what they've got, and maybe talk to them a bit about where they've been published and what comics they've been in. And then if you like what you're seeing, go and read that book and support the work that they've done. And just get that conversation going and let them know they're appreciated, and, give them that strength to keep moving forward as a creator to eventually be the next Neil Adams or George Perez.
Well done, brother. I actually had a creator reach out to me, a writer reach out to me recently. He has a book coming out, and he was like, hey, would you like to partner up on this? And I have a lot going on already in my own life, but I was like, you know what? Let's at least talk about it. Let's at least have a conversation, because I don't know if I can, but I don't want to say no before at least having a discussion, because the person has come out with a couple of books and I've read them and I've enjoyed them. And I'm like, maybe this next one is going to be really good too. So let's see if there's a way to partner up. But I think your point's a valid one of encouraging whoever the creator is, right? Whether you're familiar with their work or not, but giving them some acknowledgement, some encouragement to continue, because you never know who the next Jim Lee or George Perez or Neil Adams might be that's out there trying to figure it out. Again, George Perez was told by Neil Adams he couldn't draw, but he kept drawing, and before you know it, he's like a legend, right? So I think that acknowledgement is a wonderful point. But I think you want to comment there.
Well, I just want to also add that, you know, I think it's also important for comic book stores, local comic shops, things like that, to look at who's in their physical region and start inviting these independent creators to come and do signings and talks at their shops, and expose them to their customers, and the customers can be exposed to their books. I think it's not just the big cons or even the small cons. It's shops and stuff have to get involved and be part of this growth and learning of all these creators that are out there, because there's more than ever before.
Yeah,
there's so many people we've never even heard of that are just pumping out great stuff, and even people like friend of the channel Steve Conjay is published, and his stuff is fantastic. So you know, check it out. I don't have the title off the top of my head, but check out his Instagram. But yeah, support independent creators and support these people. It's so important.
Yeah, what's wonderful is you raised that point around LCS is doing a little bit more than maybe just being a conduit for comics to pass through, right? But being part of the community. I know that JFA, John in Bethlehem, PA, I think that they do a lot of those signings, right? They do in-store signings. They have, I think, a con coming up or something like that. I'll try to share the information. But I know that Scott, who is a friend of the channel, works with John at JFA to do a lot of these signings. And he's had several different creators come in, to your point, independent guys that are, and women that are just like, hey, I've got a comic. I may have a fan or two that I can pick up. Let me go do this signing, you know? So I think that that's a wonderful point. One of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about, Wayne, was this something that we saw probably more for Neil Adams than we did for George Perez, was the uptake in items being sold that were created by the creator, signed by that creator on platforms like eBay. There was this massive influx of like Neil Adams books being sold. And I want to say it was like a day or two after he passed, a subscriber sent me something on Instagram. It was like, I cannot believe that somebody's asking this amount of money for this. And it was this notion of people profiting from the passing of a creator. The question that I have for you is this good? Is it bad? Or is it just part of the hobby? Like where do you land on profiting off of the passing of a creator?
I have to land that it's part of the community. I get that it's kind of ghoulish. You know, like I recognize that. I personally wouldn't be like, let's say one day I won't sell a book that's signed by somebody or whatever, but I'm not going to go running out now because I think it's in poor taste in a way. But that's the community, and that's not just comics. That's anything. People selling memorabilia when a rock star dies, or Marilyn Monroe or Elvis memorabilia when they die. Like, that's just part of entertainment industry and the collectibles industry, that people want things and things they may not think about, and then feel like they have to do it. I think it comes a situation where the buyers need to sort of slow their roll and look at the prices and look at the history of the sales and kind of go, well, you're kind of taking advantage of somebody's death. I'm just going to wait for a few months.
Yeah.
And let the hoopla die down. And then I might get a similar book to this for my, because if that's something you want, by all means get it. But you know, be aware of what you're paying for it, and don't get ripped off.
Don't catch that brick, because there's a lot of brick. I want to show you. I want to show you a possible brick, and I want to get your impression of this on the other side. Let me see if I can pick the right one. Here is one. Here is a low grade copy.
I have one of those.
Yeah, I figured that you did. I do not have one, but this, and you probably know better than I what this book goes for, but this is a lower grade copy. If you look at this spine over here, you can see it's a little beat, but it is signed. It is signed by Neil Adams. They are asking for a raw copy of this book, $700 for a raw copy of this book. Again, I don't own this book. I didn't dig into it, but I felt like maybe $700 was a little on the higher end.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not like it's an obscure book. It's not rare. It's not unique. I got one locally, maybe 3 years ago at a local auction. So I drove to pick it up. So no shipping. I think I got it for around a couple $100s, and mine's in pretty decent shape. It's probably like, if you were to grade it, if you could grade it, it's probably like an 8 or an 85. Yeah. It's in much better shape than that. And I'm sorry to Neil Adams, but the signature doesn't justify a $500 or $600 markup in US dollars.
Yeah. But this is somebody, again, I don't know. This one feels like maybe someone is trying to take advantage of the situation, catch somebody that feels bad about the fact that Neil passed and that they weren't able to meet him and get a signature from him. So, hey, catch this $700, brick. I
think somebody's just taking advantage of the situation. And I would have to compare my Neil signature to make sure that's even, like, somebody just didn't grab a crappy copy and went, okay, that's sort of like Neil's signature.
But I dropped you out. But I do believe that they guarantee the signature.
Okay.
They guarantee that his signature is authentic, if I'm remembering the listing correctly. But that was my feeling, was like, is that really his signature? No. I don't know. I want to show you one more. One more. This one, I found this one to be a little more suspect. And again, a little more suspect. This one is assigned on the inside. It's a little bit of a cleaner signature.
It's sort of similar, but
it actually probably is a younger Neil Adams, if it is real. But with this one, it looked like the cover was a recreation, and I didn't grab that image, but the cover looked like a recreation, and that it was married to the inside. Like you see Foxing and Browning on the page, the cover was like white. Again, these are some of the things that give me a little pause with the passing of a creator and people trying to like profit on some of this stuff. Again, I think you're spot on in this idea of, if you are a lifelong fan of these folks and you never had a chance to meet them, and you have an opportunity to grab the signature or something to remember them by, you may need to grab a hold of your emotions and think about what you're buying before you hand over your cash and spend a little bit more than what you should be. Would you agree with that?
I think so. That Flash, the Crescent Infinite Earths, I bought that a week and a half ago at a small show near me, and I paid what I consider a very reasonably low Canadian price for it. And it's a 9.4, but it's signed, and I'm happy to have it because it's an important book to me, and I never got one. And I bought it knowing he was going to pass, but not because he was going to pass, because it was there in front of me and I couldn't resist. People have to be really conscious. I mean, if you really think you're seeing something you'll never see again, like it's the 9.8 of some major key, and it's a Neil Adams signature, and it's so hard to come by, like the Batman 251, whatever, the Joker with the playing card cover.
That's a good cover.
Like if you find a 9.8 and you've got the money and you think you really want that, you might have to pay the premium. But at the end of the day, I say wait, and prices will come down. It happened with Stan Lee. Like that was a big one for me. Stan Lee, you couldn't throw a rock without hitting a Stan Lee signed book when he died. True. And it was really unfortunate.
That's true. Oh, a Stan Lee signed book, or a statue, or a pop, or you name it.
Well, even his Marvel Age cover, like, just skyrocketed, and now it's all back down to normal prices. So just wait.
It was great. Stanley, I was going to bring that up. And this is the price for this Batman 227 that I just showed a hot second ago with the,
is it graded?
The signature. Oh, no, that's raw, brother. Oh, no.
227 is a big book. Don't get me wrong.
That's a big book. But it's also a funny cover with a pop staple that just doesn't look quite right for $1,000. Again, it's interesting.
Sorry, I was going to say, then it comes down to who's the seller, what's their rating, how many sales have they had, what's their feedback, do they allow returns?
15.
You kind of do all that research.
15 sales on this.
Yeah, no, not in a million years. Nope, couldn't pay me.
It's just a little suspect. But to your point, what was crazy is when Stan passed, the number of things that were being sold in the weeks after he passed was ridiculous. And I
Yeah.
remember at one point there was a guy by the name of Johnny Future. Tina may remember this guy. He was around the channel a lot back in the
I
day.
remember his name. Yeah.
He was around for a while. And he I want to say it was him that looked into all of the individual sales and identified that maybe there was some shenanigans going on with the bidding. This was like one of the first times I had heard about the idea of shill bidding. I didn't know it as shill bidding until like Doug, but it was early on where he was like, these sales don't quite look right. They all seem to be originating from like the same places, or the bids were like the same place. There was a lot of shenanigans that was going on with that. You don't see this as much with George Perez. There's a little bit more with Neil, and certainly a ton with Stan Lee, but just an interesting thing to see.
Give it another week. We'll see if George stuff picks up. But I think, and this is no slight on George, but I think Neil got more mainstream media coverage too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen his story pop up in things like CNN, and whereas I don't think I really noticed George, maybe I just missed it. But so I think more people who potentially could cause issues with the market, scams, etc., saw this and went, ooh, let me jump on this bandwagon, as opposed to George, they may have missed. And so you're not seeing that same spike in stuff coming up for sale.
That's a good thought. And everybody saw Stan Lee. Like everybody. You could not be vertical and awake and not know about Stan Lee's passing.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wayne, I want to thank you for coming on to help me to kind of add a little bit of texture and context to the passing of these two creators. I think your insight around how to honor and acknowledge our creators while they're still here, I thought that was insightful. So I want to thank you for that. To that point, if people want to reach out to you and get a hold of you, where can they do that on the social medias?
I have a YouTube channel, Squirrel Madness, one word, comics, second word. And on Instagram, you can find me at Squirrel Madness _comics. And if you want to reach out to me, DM me on Instagram. It's the easiest way to find me. And I want to thank you, as always, for having me on. I always appreciate our chance to chat about things.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate you coming on. Again, it's nice to have people where I can be like, hey, well, it's nice that I know you well enough to know what you're into, so I can identify things where you can come on and contribute and add to the conversation. So thank you for being a good friend, man. I absolutely appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Anytime.
And I did not cut him off. All right. So again, huge shout out to Wayne, aka Squirrel Madness, for coming on to talk a little bit about George Perez and Neil Adams. Definitely not an easy topic to talk about, but it's important, I think, for us to have the conversation, but to also put a positive spin on it, if you will, in terms of let's not let more of our creators leave us without taking an opportunity to let them know how much they mean to us and how much we appreciate what they create. And again, I think the things that Wayne said were very insightful there. So for those that are joining us a little bit late, we are having a conversation, as you just heard, potentially about Neil Adams and George Perez and people that may be trying to take advantage of the passing of these legendary creators. We are going to transition now to talking with another person. We're gonna talk about a mystery person that you may have heard about on the social media. You may have heard his name mentioned in some of my social media posts. You may have heard his name referenced on the YouTube channel. You may have even seen his name if you picked up a copy of the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting. He is the guy that handled not the art, because that was Dave. He handled the coloring of this piece. And so I want to welcome to the show my buddy Adam. Adam, it is good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, Reggie. It's good to see you too.
The mystery has now been solved. People can put a face to a name. It is good to see you. I think we spoke for the very first time, last weekend? We spoke on the phone?
I think so, in person for the first time.
Yeah, like we'd exchanged a lot of messages, DMs, a lot of emails, all that kind of stuff. But I called you on the phone, and I think you said something like, this is the first time we've actually spoke. I was like, is it? Like, because you talk to people, you just assume that like they've heard your voice like person to person, but clearly not. But I want to welcome you to the show, brother. Talk with me a little bit about how you got involved with this cover, right? Because this cover saved my bacon. Saved my bacon. There was another cover that I was going to do for the guy. That deal fell through. Dave came to me with a piece of art, and I was like, you know what? I think I could use this. Talk with me about how you got involved with this.
Yeah, for sure. So Dave and I and Doug go way back to high school. We've been friends for a long time. We've had a lot of the same interests, sports, drawing, comic books, all that stuff. And Dave, maybe a year ago, I'm not sure how long ago, he did a piece of artwork for a friend of his, and he knew I was interested. I just gotten this shiny new iPad, with Procreate and all this fun stuff on there, and he knew I wanted to kind of get into it. And he came to me and he said, "Hey, do you think you can embellish this a little bit, bring some color, some life to it?" And I said, "Sure, this would be a great learning experience, a great tool for me to do that." So I did it. He liked it. It came out pretty cool. I had all the time in the world. There was no deadline, so it was a lot of fun. And then Dave had another idea, and about doing something for yourself. And we all know Dave's affinity for Black Adam and Shazam and that whole that whole line. So anyway, he came to me with a sketch, and I thought this is gonna be awesome. I love it's an incredible cover, and I thought it would just be something fun to kind of do and practice and bring to life. So I was very grateful to do it.
I'll be honest with you. I think it's an incredible cover too. I think your subject matter is just fantastic. I mean, he's devilishly good looking, but this is not what you do, right? I mean, you're not like a colorist professionally, right? I mean, you're a guy with an iPad, kind of sort of like me. I was a guy with an iPad that started a YouTube channel. You decided to do some coloring, but again, this is not what you do, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, in another life, in another universe, maybe that's what I do. But when I was younger, I'd always wanted to be in comics art. I made a decision early on to go into graphic design and kind of forge a career path that way. So by day, I work for an ad agency that specializes in pharmaceutical advertising. We bring campaigns and concepts and logos. Yeah, exactly. We do all that. So I scratch my creative itch that way. I'm at a place in my life where I'm like, you know what, I want to, explore a little bit and spread the wings a little bit and do some passion projects and have some fun and work with some guys that I've been friends with all my life and with a subject that I've really loved all my life as well. So that's kind of how this came along. And, I'm hoping this is just kind of scratching the surface. It's been a ton of fun.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have to call my friends from high school, man, because I had a couple of friends back in the day that were artists that we dreamed about doing some of this stuff. Now you, Dave, and Doug are actually making it happen, and it's cool. It is cool to see, and again, I'm thankful for the relationship that exists between you guys because again, you saved my bacon, and you've also come on board to help us with some other stuff, right? So the success of the guy, this turned out incredibly well. We did several different versions of this thing. We turned it into a poster. We turned it into several different 1,000 copies of the guide. But based upon what happened with this, I think Doug approached you recently to get involved with isolation as well, right? And I think he reached out to see if you could create a trade dress for us for isolation, which is a little bit more up your alley, right? Of graphic design versus coloring. But can you talk with me a little bit about the process that you and Doug went through to create the trade dress, I guess, spectrum, and then we can talk about the specific after that.
Sure. So Doug and I knew about this script he was working on, and I had read it a while ago, and it was fascinating. I thought it was super interesting, and it's very complex. There's a lot of layers to it. It's very dark. There's mystery. There's fantasy. There's a lot of subjects. There's a lot of rich material there. So we talked about doing the trade dress, and came up with a couple different ideas. There's just so many entry points, and when I read the script, I saw one thing. Doug's the creator. He saw another thing. You are on there. You saw it. So like I didn't want to put one thing. It's not one size fits all. You come up with a couple different things and see what resonates with the group, I think.
Yep.
Um,
and what you did is what my agencies do for me. Like in my professional life, I go to my agencies and I'm like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Go make it better. And they come back with a range of options. Sometimes it's exactly what I asked for, which oftentimes isn't good. And then there's a couple of deviations where they are being creative and actually make it good. Where did Doug's suggestion fall on the spectrum? Was it in the not good category? I just want to be clear about that. Where was he on the spectrum?
No, he was towards the good. I will say for both of you guys, what I appreciated the most was that we had 4 or 5 distinct ideas, and you didn't want to mesh them all together. You didn't want to, we call it like the Chinese menu, a little from column A, a little from column B, put them together. We stayed very true to each individual concept, which as the art guy, I appreciate.
Why? Talk to me about why that's important from your perspective as the person that created. Why is this keep it somewhat whole, modify it, but keep it somewhat whole? Why is that relevant?
So each, you do the different concepts to kind of index on different things, and you want to think maybe one, how do I explain this? One concept might be about the period or the time that this takes place in. Another concept might be indexing more on like something physical that about the story. So they stay in their individual lanes. If you put it all together, it kind of becomes kitchen sinkish.
Yep.
You have to hang your hat on one thing. What are we going to own with this kind of logo, this trade dress? What's going to be ours?
Yes.
You can't be everything. You can't throw your arms around the world,
because it becomes just a mishmash of stuff at that point. And what you did is you ended up creating 4 different versions of the trade dress for us. I think I saw 4. Maybe there was more that Doug eliminated or you guys eliminated over the course, but I saw 4, and I struggled because there was one I was like, but then the others where I was like, I can see this working, right? So it was that process you go through of like, what do we want to convey? What do we want to represent us? And when you can't just pick one, but you're kind of bouncing between a couple, to me, that's a wonderful challenge to have, right? Because that tells you there's some good stuff. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and show the trade dress for Isolation. And I want you to maybe talk a little bit about what you were trying to convey. And I think you're doing a really fantastic job, Adam, of not revealing secret stuff. So thank you for that. I think you're doing a really good job. That's always the struggle when we do these things. But this is essentially the trade dress for Isolation. Talk with me a little bit about what we are seeing here in this depiction.
You got it. So what we wanted to do here was come at this with something with a font that was very timeless and clean. It's easily read. And given the subject matter, again, trying to tread on thin ice here. There's kind of a metamorphosis in the story. There's some things, there's any good story, there's a change, but it's a little bit integral to this story, I think. So kind of a subtle twisting from the red background to the black background really kind of indicates and gets at that change. Some of the other things that we thought about, when you get into doing trade dress and things, it's always got to ladder back to the story somehow. It's got to be on strategy. Does it have aesthetic stopping power? Is this going to be on a shelf? It's going to be in a comic store. What's going to set it apart? Is it unique? Is it ownable? Is it something that looks like every other book out there? Or is it something is there something about it that sets us apart? And we think that this kind of bold logo will do that. And it's memorable. Is it going to be memorable? And lastly, it's a comic book cover, so it cannot fight with the artwork. The artwork's got to kind of carry this. This is the appetizer, I guess, to the entree. This is kind of the way into it.
And I think that's important because for us, I wanted the trade dress to stand for something. I wanted it to be bold, but to your point, to not compete with the cover art, because fingers crossed, we have some amazing covers that I want to illustrate. I want to show the artwork without having people to fight for what to stare at first. And as nice as this is, I think people hopefully will be still focused on the art, which we've kind of blurred out for the purpose of this demonstration. But across the top, you have the names. My name's last, which I don't quite understand that, but it is what it is, right? But again, this came together quite nicely, and we have to acknowledge the Regie former configuration over there. That was actually you put together an initial version of it, but I ended up working with Dennis Kingpin, and he was the original person that created the Regie former head for me. And he took shot on goal and actually came up with what we see on screen. And I sent it over to you. And I was, I think we both were a little concerned. It's like, well, how is Adam going to take this when we send it over to him? Because as a creator, sometimes there's a little pride in creation, and there's nothing wrong with that. We were like, how is he going to handle this? You handled it incredibly well. You were like, no problem, let's just go ahead and do it. And I appreciated that. But talk with me, if you can, about what you see when you look at what Dennis put together, like artistically, creatively, from a graphic design standpoint. What are your thoughts there about that?
Well, the first thing that jumps out to me is the die cut nature of it, where it's not a perfect box anymore. It's got a little bit more personality, a little bit more forward thinking, a little bit more modern, maybe. I love what he did with the stylization. And, when something is small, what is that, like an inch by not even 2 inches tall, I don't think.
Yeah.
To convey, you've got to trim away all the excess fat and just kind of keep the lines and the information there that you need. You can't have anything extraneous. So I think you did an amazing job, bringing this little icon of you to life in very few lines and very, very little information. But I do think, again, having it not be a box, having it against that red and black background, it pops a little bit, gets your branding forward a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's the start of getting your brand out there a little bit more with the Swoldier publishing.
And you came up with an embellishment to it that I was struggling with. Your modification of the whole logo, of the whole trade dress. I was so on the verge of being like, yes, because it took this to another level. And I was like, man, that's cool. But there was something about the horizontal nature of what you originally created that I was like, I want to stay with that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But again, you and Dennis worked well together separately, but well together to bring this thing to life. And I'm very appreciative, because I think that this thing turned out incredibly well, and I'm thankful for it. And for those folks that don't know, this is probably not the last time we're going to have you on the show. You and I and Doug and Dave have had some conversations about having you do some other things for us. So folks may see you again here on the channel. But Adam, I want to thank you for coming on, brother. Where can people get a hold of you on the social media?
Yeah, sure. So my social media interaction is more taking than giving, to be honest. But my Instagram is A Schirmer, ASCHIRMER. You can find me on there. I don't know how interesting it's going to be, but hit me up.
Just all they have to do is look for the isolation post on my page, Doug's page, and you're tagged in like every one of them. People are like, probably, who is this guy? This is the guy. This is the mystery guy behind this thing right here, and also the trade dress. Adam, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show. And like I said, I don't think that this is going to be the last time that folks see you.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you so much. And thank you to the community. You guys have been awesome and super supportive, and just the knowledge that I see. I just wanted to mention the knowledge that I see in the comments and everything. I forget who it was a couple months ago. Somebody, I don't want this to sound like a commercial, but somebody turned me on to the Marvel Unlimited app, just to read what's out there, and it's been amazing. Just that's one tangible example of the knowledge that has personally impacted me. So
Marvel Unlimited app is amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, man. It's like right at your fingertips. Every book you want from Marvel is literally there. You want to read it? Go read it. People say, I don't want to slab my books because I can't read them. The Marvel Unlimited app has every book you'll probably never own, right? So,
it's awesome, and no shelf space. That's the best part of it.
Doesn't get any better. You do have a lot of shelf space behind you.
I do.
There's comics in every one of those bins, brother. Adam, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Reggie.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, brother. Again, so for those folks that are joining us a little late, we spoke first with Wayne, aka Squirrel Madness, about the passing of two legendary creators. We segued that a little bit into a conversation around those people that are potentially taking advantage of the passing of these creators. And then we made a hard turn. We made a hard turn and we spoke about the trade dress that has been developed for the Isolation comic that Doug Bratton and I are coming out with in July of this year. We are making a lot of progress on this stuff. I want to give a huge shout out to JAF Comics, who has signed on as an advertiser for the comic. Very appreciative of these guys. They supported us with the guide to smart comic collecting, and now they are supporting us with Isolation. I am very appreciative of John, JAF Comics in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So shout out to him. And now I want to talk about some other stuff. I want to talk about a few other things before we wrap up this show. One thing that I want to talk about is CGC made an announcement recently that they are moving into another grading category. They are moving forward into a new area, and that new area happens to be VHS tapes. And this is something that I spoke about like maybe 2 years ago, and I had a conversation with Nerdy Girl about graded VHS tapes. And just 2 days ago, CGC released this here, basically looking for experts in graded VHS tapes. And so I, of course, reached out to them and I was like, hey, so what's the status of this? What's going on? Like, give me some details as to why you guys are moving into this area, what the expectations are, when you hope to launch. And they were like, we don't know any of that just yet. We are still in the early stages of figuring this stuff out. But I definitely jumped the gun. I got super excited about this. Not that I own a single VHS tape or a single graded VHS tape. I just thought that this was a cool thing to maybe bring back to the channel because we spoke about it a while ago. And again, I just thought it was a really cool thing. So basically says CGC wants to hear from and potentially hire VHS experts for a new division dedicated to the professional authentication, grading, and encapsulation of VHS tapes. They go on to say some good stuff about how they're the leading third-party grader for pop culture collectibles, including comic books, trading cards, magazines, concert posters, and more. They highlight the formation of the new division for VHS tapes follows CGC's highly successful launch of trading cards in 2020 and the upcoming launch of CGC video games in 2022. So my takeaway is maybe we'll see this thing in 2023, maybe even 2024, but they are moving forward. They are forging ahead. They are forging ahead, ready for the playback. It says, be kind and rewind is what I would expect that to say. But again, just a cool little article here. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing as it came out, a press release, but I thought it was just an interesting little tidbit that I want to surface for you guys. Let me go back to the chat real quick. See me, what is that? If CGC moves into grading classic video games as well, they win. They are, brother. They are moving into, they are going to be grading everything. Like, probably some toys here at some point in the future. I mean, I think that is something that I want to say Doug and I kind of brainstorm maybe during a live show where we threw out these ideas about other areas that they can move into. I know for a fact that we spoke about geographic diversification, but they also seems to be thinking about diversification of, graded collectibles by forging into VHS tapes. There are, I want to say, one or two other companies that are doing VHS tapes now. My guess is that CGC feels like they can be competitive. They feel like they're going to be able to offer something different to the market. What is that? I don't know yet. And that was one of the questions that I asked that I will have to wait for an answer on. So scrolling through, when are they going to be grading audio cassettes? Man, what's funny is I was washing dishes yesterday and I was thinking about the very first audio cassette I ever owned. It was Salt and Pepper's Push It. I think that was the tape. I remember I went with my mother to Detroit Audio And I remember my mother asking the folks there, because she worked at Detroit Audio once upon a time. I remember her asking them if there were curse words in on the tape, because we could not have that in the house. I distinctly remember that. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. I want to grade my mom's Cyndi Lauper cassette. That's what's up, Dan P. Anyway, we're going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. As a reminder, we are going to be releasing a couple more videos this week. We're going to be releasing a video tomorrow on how to avoid scams. I've been talking a lot about scams as of late, so I'm going to offer up some practical tips and pointers for how you can potentially avoid being taken advantage of. And as you guys know, I will not cover every nook and cranny of a topic in a video, but I definitely look forward to and encourage you all to leave your thoughts in the comment section of this video when it drops. And then on Friday, I'm going to be releasing a bonus video. The bonus video is an unboxing. I decided to treat myself with a Silver Age comic. I've not bought anything for myself for a while. I decided to treat myself. So I'm going to do a haul, and then I'm going to unbox a Silver Age book. That's going down on Friday. Both of these videos will be dropping at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you guys will check them out. I'm reading some of the other comments. You guys are hilarious. Anyway, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.